Okay, so we're going to be talking about basic leopard gecko care and the things that you're going to need when you're starting out getting a leopard gecko. Um, the geckos in general, they're desert dwellers, so they don't have sticky fingers. They've got claws, and they want a more dry or humid and hot area. But in your tank, actually, the best way to have it is 1/3 heat and then 2/3 cool. Um, Basic things you're going to need is you're going to need at least a 10-gallon tank, and that's for one leopard gecko. You can put more than one leopard gecko together, but I would advise only putting one male in a tank at a time because of territorial issues. And I would likely do it when they're young, start it when they're young so that they don't attack each other and they grow used to it. You're going to need a heating pad or some way of heating for your tank. Now, I would advise strongly against using a heat lamp. I would rather somebody use a heating pad, like one of these Zoom Med ones are really nice, or using a blue ultraviolet light. But still, I would mostly go for a heating pad. And then you're going to need things in the habitat for your leopard gecko to crawl around in and hang out in and things like that. So I would advise strongly getting like a couple like wood pieces or like from the pet store, like aquarium stuff, just so that they can have somewhere to be. Now, fillers for your tank, which is like what your leopard gecko is going to be walking on. You can use, you're going to want to use, I prefer using the coconut husk filler. You soak it in water and then you dry it out. And it comes in like these brick things. And honestly, one brick does a lot. It goes a long way, especially if you have a bigger tank. I have one leopard gecko and she's a female, and I have her in, I think, a 20-gallon tank all for herself. I planned on breeding her at one point, but she got metabolic bone disease, and I still don't know if that's going to affect birthing and stuff, so I just want to be careful about that. You can use sand, but I would advise against it because some leopard geckos do swallow sand and it can cause death. And then there's like mats that you can use that you have to regularly clean. So I find that the corn husk or the coconut husk is easier because it breaks down waste. I mean, you still have to change it every once in a while, but it breaks down waste easier. For nutrition, make sure that they have calcium, like open calcium powder at all times because of metabolic bone disease, which is where their bones go squishy. And that's obviously not good for your gecko. You can feed them crickets and mealworms. Just make sure you dust them with this calcium powder when you feed them, and then obviously they need fresh water at all times. For shedding, they need to have a humid area to help them shed their skin better. And you don't have to worry about throwing the skin away because like they eat it because it's good nutrition for them. And this is what can happen if you don't have something humid in there, so that they call it humid chamber, where it will help them shed. If this happens, you can help them take it off, but you have to be extremely careful and use tweezers, and please do not pinch their toes because it can make them bleed and it hurts them. For tail breakage, it can happen. I'm not gonna lie, it can happen. Usually it doesn't happen unless you're being very rough with them, like children or something, and they feel threatened. They can pop their tail off and it will grow back, but it usually doesn't grow back as long and pretty as your lizard's original tail. So just be careful with, like pressure and pulling on their tail and stuff because they can release it. It heals normally and stuff, but it's a shame when it breaks off. So that's really what you need to know for the beginning of having your basic leopard gecko care.